Have you ever walked into a room and completely forgotten why you went there? Or maybe you found yourself searching for the right word, only to have it dance just out of reach on the tip of your tongue. If that sounds familiar, you're not alone. As we age, these little slips start to show up more often, and while they can feel frustrating or even a little scary, they don't have to be permanent. The truth is, memory loss isn't something we just have to accept as a part of getting older. In fact, science tells us there are daily habits, small, doable things you can start right now that may protect your brain and even help you feel mentally sharper than you have in years. Now, I know it can feel overwhelming. With so much information out there, it's easy to think, where do I even start? But here's the good news. You don't need to overhaul your entire life. Just a few small shifts in your daily routine can make a real difference. And today, I want to walk with you through 5 powerful, research-backed habits that support memory, focus, and overall brain health, especially after 60. So, if you've ever worried about forgetting names, misplacing your keys more often, or simply want to stay mentally sharp and independent for years to come, this video is for you. Let's dive right into the first habit. It may surprise you, but the very first thing I want to talk about is something incredibly simple: hydration. That's right, just drinking more water. It sounds too basic to matter, but dehydration is one of the most common and overlooked causes of mental fog in older adults. As we age, our sense of thirst diminishes, which means we often don't realize we're not drinking enough. Even mild dehydration can reduce your attention span, slow down processing speed, and mess with your short-term memory. Think about it. Have you ever had one of those sluggish, foggy mornings where your brain just isn't clicking? There's a good chance you are running low on fluids. The brain is made up of nearly 75% water, and when it's not getting what it needs, it's like trying to drive a car on fumes. Now, I'm not saying you need to guzzle a gallon a day, but try this. Keep a glass of water by your bed and drink it first thing when you wake up. Throughout the day, sip water regularly, especially during meals or after a walk. Herbal teas or even water-rich fruits like cucumbers and oranges can help too. This simple habit can quietly sharpen your clarity and improve your recall more than you might expect. Now, let's shift to something a bit more active. If there's one thing science is very clear on, it's that moving your body helps protect your brain. We often think of exercise as something we do for our heart or our weight, but regular movement actually increases blood flow to the brain, which helps it function better. And we're not talking about running marathons here. Even 20 to 30 minutes of walking, dancing, gardening, or gentle stretching can make a difference. When you move, your brain releases chemicals like BDNF, brain-derived neurotrophic factor. Think of BDNF like fertilizer for your brain cells. It helps them grow, connect, and repair. One study from the University of British Columbia found that seniors who did regular aerobic activity had a noticeable increase in the size of the hippocampus, the part of the brain responsible for memory and learning. The key is consistency. It doesn't matter if it's a morning stroll around the block or dancing to your favorite oldies in the kitchen. What matters is making it part of your routine. Bonus points if you can combine it with fresh air or a bit of sunshine. Nature, movement, and light can do wonders together for mental clarity and emotional well-being. So far, we've covered hydration and movement, 2 habits that are easy to overlook but incredibly powerful. And both of them can slide effortlessly into your day without requiring massive change. Now, let's take a moment to reflect. When was the last time you drank a full glass of water without rushing? Or moved your body just for the joy of it? These moments of care may seem small, but over time, they can build a foundation that keeps your memory stronger and your spirit lighter. And that brings me to something a little deeper, something that's not just about what you do, but how you feel. Because the truth is, your emotions affect your brain more than you might think. Chronic stress, anxiety, or sadness can actually shrink parts of the brain involved in memory and decision-making. It's not just a feeling, it's a biological response. And that's why managing emotional stress is the next quiet superpower when it comes to protecting memory. But we'll ease into that in just a moment. Because when we talk about memory and the aging brain, it's impossible to ignore the impact of emotional stress. You see, your brain isn't just a machine. It's deeply connected to your emotions, how you feel each day, the worries you carry, even the way you talk to yourself when no one else is around. And after 60, this connection becomes even more powerful. When we experience stress, whether from family tension, financial concerns, or just the feeling of being overwhelmed, it triggers a hormonal response in the body. Cortisol, often called the stress hormone, floods the system. And while it's helpful in small bursts, too much of it over long periods can actually damage the brain, especially areas like the hippocampus, which is responsible for forming new memories. That's why the next habit is so simple, yet so often forgotten: a daily calm-down ritual. This isn't about ignoring your problems or pretending everything is fine. It's about carving out a small window of peace in your day to let your nervous system breathe. Just 10 minutes of stillness, where you close your eyes, breathe deeply, and let go of tension, can make a big difference. You can sit by the window, listen to birdsong, or try guided breathing apps designed just for seniors. Some people find comfort in prayer or meditation, while others prefer journaling or listening to soft music. There's no one right way. What matters is that you give your brain a break from constantly reacting. When you do, you reduce inflammation, stabilize your mood, and protect your memory from the silent erosion caused by chronic stress. One woman I spoke to recently, her name was Marjorie, shared that she started taking 5 minutes after breakfast each day to sit on her porch with a cup of tea, no phone, no distractions, just watching the trees. She said, "It's like giving my brain a warm hug before I start the day." And the clarity she's felt since then? Remarkable. Sometimes, peace is the most powerful medicine. Now, if we've given the mind a moment of calm, it's time to feed it something nourishing. And I mean that literally. The fourth habit has everything to do with what you eat. Because your brain, just like the rest of your body, thrives on fuel. And certain foods can make a surprising difference in how well it remembers, reacts, and processes information. One of the most powerful nutrients for the aging brain is omega-3 fatty acids, especially DHA. Found in fatty fish like salmon, mackerel, and sardines, omega-3s are like the building blocks of brain cells. They reduce inflammation, improve communication between neurons, and are directly linked to better memory in seniors. But if you're not a fan of fish, that's okay. There are other options like flax seeds, chia seeds, walnuts, and even high-quality supplements. Just imagine this. You're preparing a light lunch with a spinach salad, some grilled salmon, a few slices of avocado, and a sprinkle of walnuts on top. Not only are you feeding your body with vitamins and minerals, but you're giving your brain a delicious boost as well. And it doesn't have to be fancy or expensive. Even a few simple swaps, like olive oil instead of margarine or berries instead of sugary desserts, can start building a more brain-friendly plate. But there's another part to this habit that's often overlooked, and that's how you eat. Many seniors rush through meals without really chewing, tasting, or enjoying. When eating becomes just another task, the body doesn't absorb nutrients as well. So, try slowing down. Chew slowly. Savor the flavors. Let your meals be moments of nourishment, not just for your stomach, but for your mind and spirit too. And that brings us to something beautifully human: connection. Yes, believe it or not, staying socially engaged is one of the most effective ways to protect your memory. People often think memory is all about crossword puzzles or brain games, but real-life conversations, laughter, shared stories, These things light up the brain like a Christmas tree. When you talk to someone, your brain is multitasking. It's listening, remembering, responding, interpreting tone, and even reading facial expressions. And that kind of activity is exactly what keeps those cognitive muscles strong. In fact, studies have shown that seniors who maintain regular social interaction have a much lower risk of cognitive decline. But here's the challenge. After retirement, or when children grow distant, social circles can shrink. That's why making connection a daily habit matters. It doesn't need to be a dinner party or a big event. A quick phone call to a friend, a chat with your neighbor, sharing a memory with your spouse, even saying hello to the cashier at the grocery store and making eye contact, it all counts. I remember one man, Harold, who joined a local walking group for seniors. He said the walking was nice, but it was the conversation that changed everything. I started remembering things I hadn't thought about in years, he told me. Stories came back. Names came back. I felt like myself again. The human brain is wired for connection. And just like a garden, it blooms best when it's not alone. As you take all this in, I want you to reflect for a moment. Which of these habits already exists in your life? Which one feels like it's missing? You don't have to start them all today. But even choosing just one small shift can begin to create ripples that support your memory, your confidence, and your sense of self. There's something really powerful about realizing that we have more control over our mind than we've been led to believe. And now that we've explored the ways hydration, movement, emotional calm, nourishing food, and connection can shape our memory, there's one final habit that ties them all together. It may not seem like a habit at first glance, but once you start doing it regularly, you'll see how deeply it can transform the way your brain functions. I'm talking about sleep, but not just any sleep. Restorative, undisturbed, quality sleep that allows your brain to reset, clean itself, and prepare for a new day. You might be surprised to learn this, but while you sleep, your brain is wide awake in its own way. It's busy organizing memories, processing information, and even sweeping away waste proteins that build up during the day, proteins that have been linked to cognitive diseases like Alzheimer's. One study from the NIH showed that poor sleep, especially in older adults, is closely connected to faster memory loss. The less you sleep, the foggier things become. But when your body gets real rest, it's like giving your brain the chance to breathe deeply and reboot. Now, if you're someone who struggles with sleep, I want to gently remind you, it's not your fault. As we age, our sleep cycles shift. We produce less melatonin, the hormone that helps us feel sleepy, and we're more sensitive to noise, temperature, and even our own thoughts keeping us up at night. But here's where the habit part comes in, because creating a calming, predictable nighttime routine can make all the difference. It starts with consistency. Try going to bed and waking up at the same time each day, even on weekends. Your body thrives on rhythm. Then think about how you spend the hour before bed. If the TV is loud or you're scrolling your phone in bed, your brain doesn't know it's time to wind down. Instead, dim the lights, turn off the screens, and do something that soothes you. That could be reading a book with soft lighting, listening to calming music, taking a warm bath, or practicing a bit of light stretching. Some seniors I've spoken with swear by lavender oil. Others sip on a bit of chamomile tea. One woman I admire writes down 3 things she's grateful for every night before bed. She told me it helps clear her mind and soften her heart. Whatever it is, make it yours. Make it gentle. And most importantly, make it regular. The better your sleep, the stronger your memory. It's not just rest. It's medicine. And here's something I think we don't say enough. You are not losing your mind. You are still growing, still learning, still capable of change and improvement at every age. Your brain isn't broken. It might just be tired, thirsty, lonely, underfed, or overstimulated. but it can respond. It can heal. It can sharpen again. And that's what makes all of these habits so empowering. They're not miracles. They're simply gentle invitations for your body and mind to feel supported again. When you start to take care of your memory, truly take care of it, you're not just remembering where you left your glasses. You're holding on to who you are, to the stories you've lived, the names of people you love, the laughter of old friends, the wisdom you've earned. You're preserving the essence of what makes you you. So, if any part of this conversation has spoken to you, I want to encourage you. Don't wait for memory problems to become severe before you act. You don't need to be perfect. You don't need to adopt every habit overnight. Start with what feels easiest. Maybe tomorrow morning, you pour a full glass of water and drink it slowly before you brush your teeth. Or maybe today, you call someone you haven't spoken to in a while, just to hear their voice and remind yourself that connection is still possible. And if you're already doing some of these things, celebrate that. You're already supporting your mind in ways that matter. Every walk, every balanced meal, every laugh, every breath, it adds up. The brain is always changing. And you're never too old to be the one who gently guides it in a better direction. Before we close, I want to invite you to do something small but meaningful. If this video brought you comfort, or gave you hope, or reminded you of your own power, leave a comment below. Share what habit you're going to start with, or simply say hello. This isn't just a video, it's a community, and your voice matters here. And if you'd like more gentle guidance like this, more science-backed tips, encouragement, and insight into how to live well after 60, please consider subscribing to this channel. It helps us grow, and it means you won't miss any future videos that can support your journey toward greater clarity, strength, and peace of mind. Thank you for spending this time with me today. You could have been anywhere, and you chose to be here. I hope you leave this space feeling a little lighter, a little more hopeful, and a lot more empowered. Here's to strong minds, full hearts, and living your best life at any age.